Labor Day weekend ends the summer travel season, right?
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Schwab. Schwab offers investors choices like full-service wealth management, self-directed investing options, and trading on Thinkorswim. More at schwab.com.
For Marketplace, I'm Nova Safo and for David Brancaccio. Let's talk summer travel. It's supposed to be peak tourism and was forecast to be slow this year. But on both points, there's surprising news. Joining me is Eileen Crowley. She tracks the transportation and hospitality industry at the audit and advisory firm Deloitte. Good morning.
Glad to be here.
Has the summer travel season turned out as we expected?
One of the biggest trends that we're seeing is that folks are actually taking more trips this summer and expected to. So, the trips might be a little bit quicker and shorter. But again, that prioritization of leisure travel is continuing for Americans is what we're seeing.
So some signs of good news, but we are seeing some tweaks perhaps to summer travel plans for Americans. What have those tweaks been besides the shorter, maybe quicker trips?
You are definitely correct. I like to refer to our travelers this summer as more the budget conscious traveler, a little bit more frugal than perhaps in summers past. But they're doing, less international trips. They're also thinking about spending less once they get to a destination. A number of our travelers that we surveyed actually are intending to travel after Labor Day, which typically has been the end of the, summer defined travel season. And many are doing that because of the, shoulder season being perhaps a little bit less expensive and keeping in line with their budgets.
Yeah, and airlines alluded to this in their forecasts for the rest of the year, right? They're saying that they're seeing kind of the usually kind of heavy summer demand period kind of get instead kind of spread out and thinned out a bit and going and kind of spilling into the fall.
We took a look back to our survey results from 2022 about travel post Labor Day. And there was about 12% of Americans that indicated they intended to take their marquee or biggest trip of the summer season after Labor Day. If you look at the results of our survey this year in 2025, that percentage is closer to 23%. So it's almost doubled in the last 3 years of our survey.
Considering kind of the shifting travel patterns and the expanding period of travel, what do you expect for the fall? Where are we headed?
I think you'll see, like I mentioned, more travelers post Labor Day. They are intending to stretch that summer season out in many regards to get maybe perhaps a better pricing, whether it's hotels or airfares. And depending on how the economy continues to fare, you could see some folks, or some of our American travelers staying with family and friends actually versus paid lodging. Again, it all surrounds the theme of a more frugal traveler, especially if they're feeling less financially secure.
All right, Deloitte's Eileen Crowley, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
And U.S. markets, by the way, are on holiday, closed for Labor Day.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Progressive Insurance. The Name Your Price tool provides a range of coverage options. Progressive.com. Price and coverage match limited by state law. And by Avalara, providing cloud-based solutions for businesses to manage property tax compliance. Learn more at avalara.com/property tax.
Millions of Americans have some form of criminal record, an arrest, charge, or conviction. That record can go on to limit access to housing, employment, and education, even if an offense is dismissed. While some states offer automatic record expungement for qualified individuals, others require a court petition, which can be both expensive and confusing. A new tech startup is looking to make record expungement less complicated with the assistance of artificial intelligence.
My name is Roger Roman, and I am the co-founder of Legalese. So my co-founder, Lawrence Blackman, he's a practicing attorney. He would come with ideas about things that could be fixed basically in the legal system, and expungement was one that he kept coming back to. Like a true attorney, he was very persistent and convincing, and I started to help him build an MVP, which was our first model to help people basically go ahead and figure out if they were eligible, one, for an expungement, and then help them in terms of processing it. We built that MVP a couple of years ago, and we realized that there was something there. There was a huge gap in the market in this space. Early on, we thought our ideal customer profile was of a certain demographic. We had our preconceived notions about who this could help. But over time, we found that this problem transcends all economic levels. It transcends race. It transcends everything. We've had investors say, hey, I needed an expungement similar to Lawrence, right? He's a state representative and attorney. He needed to get an expungement. We started in Mississippi, one, because Mississippi was perceived as a challenge to us early on in terms of their judicial system. There's still a lot of reliance on paper. In addition to that, my co-founder Lawrence is a practicing attorney there. He's barred. He's also a state representative, right? So we had a lot of insight into how things move with the courts. The incarceration rate and the people with criminal records in Mississippi is one of the highest in the country. Unfortunately, it was fertile ground to test out our model and to build in. To be completely honest, we felt that if we could make this work in Mississippi, it would be a lot easier to make it work in other states that might have a little more advanced judicial system and might be a little more adept to using technology to solve these issues. I might be a little biased, but I'm a big fan of AI. Maybe in 20 years when we're all slaves to, some AI overlord, right? I might regret saying this, but today it just feels like a superpower. A lot of times I joke with my co-founders about it being similar to a calculator, right? In school, we were told not to use a calculator because we had to learn how to do math ourselves. And, we wouldn't always have access to a calculator. And here we are today with cell phones with calculators on them. And we pretty much have access to a calculator in every predicament. So I know there's a lot of fear around AI and the potential power it has. But I think used in the right space and used, responsibly, it can really help a lot of people and even the playing fields in a lot of spaces.
That's Roger Roman of Legalese, and I'm Nova Safo with the Marketplace Morning Report. From APM, American Public Media.